Today, we will examine aspects that we haven't seen before while observing the example of KK 425. We'll take two manuscripts stored in the library of the Catholic University, number 136 and 137. So, as you may remember, manuscript KK 425 was kept without a box, while these two are kept in boxes. We open the manuscript and we see a label made of paper with brief information on it. A significant number of manuscripts stored in American libraries have such labels. Typically, this is most of what is known about these manuscripts, which usually appears in most catalogs. For example, here you can have, very briefly, language Latin, brief title, material volume, and very unprecise date, 13th or 14th century, and the country French, France, or Germany. In fact, this is rather Italian manuscript. This manuscript was rather produced in Italy. Next, we notice the end leaf is missing. There is a gap. Moving on, there is the first leaf with handwriting, probably from the 17th century. On the next leaf, we understand that this label is an adhesive print and has no relation to the original manuscript. This is common for many medieval liturgical manuscripts from the 17th and 18th century. Above the calendar, there are numbers made by 20th century hand. We continue through the manuscript, and here we can clearly see that this is a hairy part of the page. These dots are follicles. Farther on, we see threads here. It means we are in the middle of a quire. This is something we haven't observed in KK 425. It is clear that you can only see this when the manuscript is not tightly bound. We move on. We see a vertical catchword, which is not typical for English manuscripts, but very, very common for Italian ones. We continue, and we can see that the edges of the manuscript are tinted. Which was common practice in the 17th and 18th centuries. Sometimes edges were gilt. Next manuscript is manuscript 137. We see that a leaf from an early manuscript had been used for the binding. It has musical notation. You can see one large sheet used in the binding and another one used as a spine, likely from the same manuscript, although it has to be verified. Moving on, the first leaf is very dirty. We know what conclusions to draw from this. We see a late 12th century manuscript with quite large initials in red and green. And on the next leaf, Next one. And on the next leaf, we see additional notes from the 16th century. Next, please. Next. Next. Yeah, the bottom. These are 16th century cards. We move forward toward the end of the manuscript. Yeah. And we see this is already paper. And you see the difference, right? And the handwriting here is from the late 15th century. And when we compare the page on the left and page on the right, we can see that hands are completely different. Now we go forward and we look at the lower edge of the manuscript. Next, 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 next. Yeah. Looking at the lower edge of the manuscript, we observe the waves. Such waves could only be constructed by parchment. So if you see something like that, even in full black and white images, you know this is certainly parchment. Thank you.